All right, welcome to episode 30, our final episode of the 2022 season with our podcast, Compass Coffee Talk. I'm your co-host, Stephen Hoffman of Compass Natural, serving natural and organic products companies and entrepreneurship, building brands out there. My co-host, Bill Capsalis, the executive director of Naturally Boulder, an economic development initiative, a unique public-private partnership that helps expand natural organic entrepreneurship and business in our state, now influenced around the country. And we are so grateful to have our special guest today, Governor Jared Polis. We want to congratulate him on his re-election and his leadership in Colorado, now being actually recognized around the nation. You may know, or if not, go to YouTube and check out his interview just this past Friday on Real Time with Bill Maher on HBO. Compass Coffee Talk, we launched it in the midst of the pandemic when we were all in lockdown to stay in touch, bring leaders in our industry out there to share entrepreneurial stories with business leaders in the natural products industry. And we are so grateful again to have Governor Polis with us. Before he became a public servant and chose a career in public service, he was an internet entrepreneur. So there you were in kind of that same generation with Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and others, but you were successful in that business and again chose really a different route. And again, we are so proud to have you as our governor of the state of Colorado. I know I will speak for our constituency. So welcome. First, I just want to thank our sponsors, and we're going to get right into it because we have a hard stop at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Want to thank the Independent Natural Food Retail Association, INFRA, for helping host Compass Natural and Compass Coffee Talk. Presence Marketing, one of the biggest sales brokerages in the country with offices here in Colorado. And then Naturally Boulder, which was the start of this entrepreneurship network, which is now Governor Polis, a national network with chapters in cities across the country. And our other sponsors include Naturally New York and Naturally San Diego. So again, thank you for joining us and welcome to Compass Coffee Talk. Bill, you want to get us going?
Yeah, I just have to say, I think I'm living in the greatest state in the country with the best governor in the country. Congratulations, Governor Polis, on your reelection.
Well, Bill and Steve, it's great to see you both. I'm very excited and to be governor of Colorado for the next 4 years. And there's a lot of great work ahead. I love your Colorado flag behind you, Bill.
Thank you. So yeah, Steve mentioned we had sort of 3 buckets of questions for you. And I know that you have no problem responding to any question, but we want to keep it pretty tight. We have a half hour in front of us now, 28 minutes or 27 minutes, whatever it is. So we'll get started. And Steve mentioned the early part of your life there as an internet, web business entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur. We're just curious, like, what did you take away from that experience, and how did you find yourself going in the direction you did when you did? I think it's important because we have a lot of entrepreneurs who tune into our show.
Yeah, I was very active in early stages of the companies that I founded or co-founded. Proflowers.com I founded in 98, and we raised capital in 01, went public in 03, sold it in 07. BlueMountain.com. American Information Systems was my first company. So this was while I was in college. It was an internet access provider. So 2 friends I met through my college friends. We basically just got a bank of modems for dial-up internet access, and we sold dial-up internet access. We went into lease lines. We raised capital. We sold it eventually. So I was always most active in kind of the very early stages, and then usually would take on kind of a board or a chairman type role as the company grew, and we had some executive talent in there.
Yeah. So those early years of entrepreneurship, they've obviously informed you a little bit about the innovation and entrepreneurial community here in Colorado, which is pretty well thriving in the food space for sure, and I know in tech for sure. What kind of takeaways do you have from that, and what are you seeing today with today's entrepreneurial and innovative thinkers?
In both natural foods and in tech, it's actually really exciting to see the infrastructure around startups that really didn't exist 20
Yeah.
or 25 years ago. I mean, I see in natural products, and you guys in these places, I mean, to get contract production is easy. You know, you have the idea, there's facilities that do it. You don't have to mess with the capital costs.
Yeah.
There's marketing people that so the infrastructure, you have the idea, you have the product. It's really easier than ever before to bring it to market, which is really cool. We see a similar thing in tech. I mean, there's angel funders, there's funding networks. You need less capital because, again, you don't, you can use shared facilities. So it's really empowering for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think it's been interesting as the information has more been readily available to entrepreneurs and innovators. They can connect with successful entrepreneurs in the state, and we're seeing that across the country because they're still trying to learn and try to get a toehold. We did want to talk a little bit about, like, what does the next 4 years look like for you and any initiatives you're thinking about. I know you can't reveal your overall plan at this point, but anything related to ag, food that's on your radar right now, just be curious to hear about.
Well, there's a lot, of course. I would say one item is we right now in Colorado, it's only $1 to start a new business, to incorporate or take out an LLC. So it's normally $75 to $100. So and I hope that's something we will continue. It's in our budget to continue. New business formations went up as a result, and it may not sound like a lot, but if you're starting a business with $400, $75 is a big deal. I mean, you're talking 20% of your budget.
Yeah.
And if we can make it $1 to start, I wanted to make it free, but then it turned out that bots would register millions of businesses, and so we said, okay, we'll make it $1 just to make sure it's real. It's essentially free, right? It's $1 instead of 75 or 100. So that's good. In ag, we're doing a lot of cool work. So we have a great ag commissioner, Kate Greenberg. We have really oriented our focus on Colorado Proud, on soil health initiatives. There's all kinds of ag tech in Colorado, and we have some revolving loan funds that's available for the capital piece of ag tech. So we've really oriented around the future of agriculture, the future of food, sustainability, and the legislature, especially with the American Rescue Act funds, has been very generous to help make sure we have the ability to step up and play more a role in helping innovation in ag.
Yeah,
and Bill, I want to just add when Governor Polis was a congressman for Colorado. He actually has been an early supporter of regenerative agriculture and came to the national launch of Regeneration International. That was back in 2015 when you were in Washington, D.C. I remember you came to our launch. And I know I was very honored to work with you and former Governor Bill Ritter and former Ag Commissioner John Stolp in helping select Kate Greenberg, and your commitment of regenerative agriculture in the state. So, I just want to recognize this is not something that's new. It's something you've embraced early on.
Yeah, and it's been very exciting to see it better resourced than ever before, especially launching some of our soil health and regenerative initiatives. We have an initiative around agrivoltaics, looking at how you can do solar energy production, but also take advantage of the partial shading from a water perspective for crop production. So there's a lot of great stuff happening in Colorado. In Silt, we have a very large high-tech indoor growing operation for lettuce and salads. And this thing is amazing to see, but really importantly, from the Colorado perspective, it uses 90% less water, and it's also organic. So really, really cool to see what's going on.
Wow. And you've also been really actively supporting and engaged with hemp in the state. I know Steve's very actively involved in the hemp industry. Are there any new things happening on that side of the equation that you can share?
Yeah, so we have launched, early on our hemp advancement initiative. We've really made it a priority, and we made sure that the role of the state, in hemp is very different than marijuana. Marijuana is regulated; it's a different department. It's not in Department of Ag; it's Department of Regulatory Affairs. We look at it kind of like alcohol, right? Can regulate marijuana like alcohol. Hemp as a crop is in Department of Ag, and we've been in the forefront of innovating with our plan with the federal government. We push the envelope on Department of Ag. We want to reduce costs as much as we can for farmers and really look at additional uses, right? I mean, there was the whole kind of CBD thing, and I'm sure CBDs will be here for a certain extent forever, but it's more about the industrial uses. So everything from hempcrete to clothing to car parts, a lot of great things coming out of that sector.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and hemp food from seed.
Very exciting.
And
Yeah.
Governor Polis has been also a big supporter of the hemp industry in Colorado. We thank you for that. And we've got the upcoming NOCO Hemp Expo. We're actually moving down to SoCo. We'll be at the end of March at the Broadmoor.
Oh,
So we're
Oh,
very
is that
excited.
it's moving south gradually. It was in Aurora last year, and then it's going down to Colorado Springs. I'll be there, I'm sure. I think I saw you there in Aurora last year is where we had it. And
Yes.
all of a sudden it's the SoCo hemp, but
All right,
migrating.
good. We're confirming you to open the conference this coming year, March
Yeah, we just have to-
29 through 31. We'll be in touch.
That's exciting.
Bill,
It's
keep
always
us
one of the
going,
most fun.
please.
It's always one of the most exciting. I encourage everybody to attend, by the way, and register. It's a really great industry get together, all aspects of the hemp industry, educational panels, exhibitors, really, really amazing.
totally agree.
You know, I met Bill back about 22 years ago when he was the marketing director for Gaiam. So, you know, the healthy lifestyles, eco wellness, Colorado is just such a center for that. And certainly, you know, since 2012, 2014, it really has become an epicenter as well for industrial hemp, from CBD to food to fashion to hemp building. So thank you and your team for your support there.
Yeah, totally appreciate that, Steve. And Governor, I keep thinking about these young entrepreneurs out there in the state of Colorado, and we've created somewhat of a magnet for them to come here and innovate still. What's your sort of thinking about funding resources and how brands can, find access to capital if they need it? You have any thoughts on that you can share?
Yeah, I mean, we have some very strong angel funding networks. We, of course, have professionally managed venture capital as well. Our universities are also hubs of this. We have a lot of business plan competitions where, folks can sort of, if their business plan goes to the top, they might get 15,000 or 5,000, but they get enough to kind of go to the next level and
Right.
package their business to raise capital. This is all stuff that didn't exist, 20 years ago. So it's just kind of cool to see all the support networks that help entrepreneurs turn their ideas into reality. Still, obviously, for anybody considering entrepreneurship, it's a lot of work. You got to be ready to burn the candle on both ends, work all day and night. That's all you're going to do. But there's a lot more support structures in place there than there were before on both the network and the capital development side.
And it's nice to know that the government of Colorado is supporting that activity. I know that there's a big transition going on over at the stockyards with CSU's group over there. They're doing some really neat stuff with that kitchen. They're going to do some kitchen innovation work over there. CSU is really stepping out with that kind of stuff, and I know that must be a public-private partnership going on there. So I don't know what the state, if the state's involved in that or not, but that redevelopment over there is pretty amazing, and we hope to come down and have an event there pretty soon and expose people to that kitchen and the expertise that CSU brings to the table.
Yeah, and we're very excited. The state is a partner in the stock show complex. Also, CSU also has the InnoSphere, which is another public-private partnership to kind of incubator plus for tech broadly. I'm sure they have some natural products companies in that mix there, and really exciting to see CSU really step up and support this kind of entrepreneurship.
Yes, Steve, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about some future initiatives. I know you had a question on the top of your mind for the governor.
Yeah, and also I want to let people know, again, about naturallybolder.org. If you are interested in entrepreneurship and learning about natural and organic food and other products, Bill's the director of that. And as Governor Polis was talking about, it is an excellent resource. And it's not just about capital, it's about mentorship, it's about making connections, it's about human capital. All that kind of comes together in organizations like Naturally Bolder, which again has inspired such organizations like it around the whole country. Now there's Naturally New York, Naturally San Diego, Naturally Bay Area, all supporting this kind of green entrepreneurship, which, we want to see a new conscious capitalism out there that supports people making a living and helps keep our communities and people healthy and cleans up our environment. So that's what I think the opportunity is. And leading into that, the world is obviously facing some pretty big, hairy, audacious issues. And, just give us some simple answers for this, because I know it just off the top of your head, but water in the West, climate change in the West, renewable energy, sustainability, resilience, that is the economy. If we don't have that, it's hard to have the other stuff. So Governor Polis, these are big issues. How are we heading forward on these things?
Well, those each one of those needs their own, show, Steve. Like they need their own 30-minute block. Let me address kind of
they
the
do.
inclusive capitalism piece. So obviously, Colorado has B Corps. Another initiative that we focused on is employee ownership. And we actually, at our Office of Economic Development, have put a specific focus on this. There is our tax credits available for companies that want to convert to ESOP. That's one form of employee ownership. But we, whether it's stock options, ESOPs, whether it's formalized profit sharing, we're very excited about participation in everybody in the appreciation of capital and the workers. It aligns incentives, it leads to greater productivity, employee retention, and morale. The companies I started all had stock options for every employee, entry level on up, and that's a great concept. It's one that is in tech, it's in natural foods, and it's one that we value and we think other industries should learn from.
Yeah, isn't there something happening around benefits and ESOP going into effect in 2023? I seem to remember hearing something about that.
So the state is leading into supporting with favorable tax treatment and tax credits ESOP formation. So effectively, it makes it viable for mid-sized companies, because the tax credit will cover legal fees up to, I believe, $250,000. I have to check, but so
Wow.
if you had $1 million, $2 million a year company, it would have been just cost prohibitive to convert to employee ownership without this. Like if you had $100 million company, you could do it because it's a small transaction. But if it was just a few million, this makes it viable for that, which is very exciting. But also getting to Steve's question on energy, Colorado is really in the forefront of moving to renewable energy. We're going to be at 80% renewable energy for our grid in just 7 more years by 2030. I mean, it's really remarkable to think of that transformation. Our goal is 100% by 2040. I think we'll get there. One of the ways we're pursuing, I'm the chair of the Western Governors Association now, the 22 Western states, and our initiative that I identified is the heat beneath our feet, geothermal energy. Great opportunities for geothermal for both heating and cooling, passive, but also geothermal electric. And if you've been to, I'm sure you've been to Grand Junction, also great natural products industry there and outdoor recreation. Colorado Mesa University there is already 70% of their building space is heated and cooled with passive geothermal. And our state is going to work with them to hopefully become the first university in the country to be 100% geothermal heating and cooling. What's also really cool is they did the financial work to figure out what that means. The fact that they've zeroed out their heating and cooling bills, or 70% of them. It actually reduces tuition by 2% a year. So there's a direct dividend for their students that they get this basically free heat source. There's capital costs up front. You build it. It's rated for 30 years, but it'll last, 60, 70 years, minimal maintenance. I mean, there's amazing opportunities for the heat beneath our feet.
That's amazing. I love that. Is geothermal available everywhere in the state, or is it only certain?
The geothermal passive heating and cooling is really available pretty much everywhere with the ground temperatures we have. The opportunity for geothermal electric, which is really where there's very hot underground temperatures, which our state has, but this is more where there's near hot springs, or where there are hot springs you might not know about because they're underground, but you really need to find those. But there are plenty of those places for geothermal electric as well. There's a new plant coming online in Utah, Southwest Utah. Hawaii has a large geothermal electric plant at Kona. Actually generates about 20% of the power for the island. So it's not new. That plant is decades old, but the application to kind of meet our renewable energy needs and really apply it in the West is new, and utilize some of the new kind of drilling technology that's available to be able to tap it successfully and at low cost.
Governor, I drive an electric car. What's the infrastructure looking like as we go forward? Can you say anything about that? Where charging stations are and how we move around with electric vehicles now?
We have a dedicated funding source in the state for additional charging. We also have a partnership with Rivian to do charging stations in all of our state parks. We've already have several of them online. They're going to get to all of them over the next year or two. We're doing the scenic byways, and so we're doing a lot of this because we want it to be as convenient as possible and increase and empower, increase consumer choice, and empower people like you, Bill, who are an early adapter. But it's really gone mainstream. About 13% of all the cars sold in the last few months were electric in Colorado. I mean, that's a big deal.
Wow. I didn't know that. We took a drive to northern New Mexico, and as soon as we crossed over the state line, we got very nervous about finding charging stations. We weren't nervous in Colorado because we could find them, but boy, I was getting a little nervous in northern New Mexico.
So, one good news about that is that the National Bipartisan Infrastructure Act,
Right,
it has charging infrastructure in it, which will affect all 50 states. So Colorado will be ahead because we have our own resources, but even the states that don't allocate their own are going to be getting some federal resources for additional charging capacity.
wow, that's awesome. Good to hear. Yes, Steve, I think we could, like the governor said, all of these topics we could go on for a while. Is there anything that you wanted to follow up on?
Yeah, I think we would be remiss if we didn't at least, and water certainly deserves a lot of attention, but it comes from Colorado, the water for the Southwest. So perhaps if you could just take a moment to talk a little bit about what we're doing with the water issue.
Yeah, so we're in a stronger position legally as a upper basin state than the lower basin states. The states that are facing and are likely to face the most severe mandatory cutbacks are California, Arizona, Nevada, and especially it's going to be challenging in those states, and they're already taking steps. That doesn't mean that Colorado shouldn't be part of the solution. Of course we should. We're at that table. We're really excited about connecting water policy to housing in Colorado. I think you asked about what we need to do in Colorado. One of the things we need for our whole economy, you see it in natural foods, you see it in every sector, is the cost of living is just too high, right? So we want lower housing costs, which very simply, cost, economics 101 is a function of supply and demand. It's great that demand is high, it means people want to live here, great place to live, but supply is artificially constrained. So how do we unleash more housing supply, reducing housing costs, but at the same time do that in a sustainable way, which means from a water perspective and an energy perspective, what that means is not more exurban sprawl, right? We're more traffic on the roads, more single family plots with yards that need water and grass. So how do we do this in a way where we can do it on transit corridors, thoughtfully, efficiently? And that's really one of the main areas we're focused on working with the legislature this coming session.
Wow. Awesome.
Governor Polis, I have another question in mind, and everybody asks what you can do for them. And I'm reminded of John F. Kennedy's quote. And I think we have an audience of business leaders and entrepreneurs here, not just from Colorado, but from all over. So what can these entrepreneurs and business leaders in the sectors that we serve, how can they get involved and make a difference? What can they do for their country?
Well, certainly pay it forward, be a mentor, help other entrepreneurs. We have a lot of state boards and commissions, and you can go to our Governor of Colorado website, click on boards and commissions. We have a food advisory council. We want people from natural products who might want to serve on boards of different universities or on economic development. So I really would love people who have some time, and a lot of these meet, a day a month or a day every other month. So, they're manageable. Love to have folks serve in these different capacities with the state of Colorado. If you don't live in Colorado, your state probably has these also. Sometimes your city or county might also have these kinds of ways to get involved.
That's really neat. So can we get information from your office so we can share with our community about these groups?
We would love to. Absolutely. We would love to. We'll share the website, Colorado Boards and Commissions, and you go to colorado.gov, you click on governor and then boards commissions. We'll give you the link to send out.
That's great.
There's everything on there, but I think there's a lot in particular would be interested to folks from the national product.
I do know a couple of local people who are serving on a couple of boards, and one of them is involved in the state fair board, sort of cleaning up the food opportunity there. So
and we have a opening on the state fair board from Western Colorado. They're regional. So this is all the way Durango, Grand Junction, anywhere there. We have an opening. And so would really encourage somebody who lives there to apply. We'd love to have them. State fair is really cool.
We can definitely spread the word, Governor, on that and let people know that those boards are available. And they're citizen boards. they're not paid, right? They're basically volunteer time. So
yeah, they're not paid, but you don't have to incur any out-of-pocket costs. Like if you have to travel or stay in a hotel for a meeting, the state pays for that. But they're not paid, but we expenses are paid.
Super cool. That's great. I know there are people in our community who would be interested in that. That's great. I'm happy to share that.
Great.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, when people ask, how do I get involved in making a difference? I think these are very accessible level ways for businesses to practice some citizenship and make a difference. So I know made me feel truly patriotic, Governor, when I served on your inaugural committee. It really was an honor. The benefit was a win-win-win. So I recommend service. As a former Peace Corps volunteer as well, that kind of got me started. I absolutely recommend service. We are approaching the top of the hour. I would like to ask you, just legacy-wise, again, I think you've been Secretary of Education for the state of Colorado. How many terms did you serve as congressman?
5 terms, 10 years.
Wow.
10 years as congressman,
yeah,
and now your second term as governor. What do you see, kind of your closing comments, a bit of a legacy you'd like to see?
Well,
for our state
I just
nation?
got reelected to my second term, so don't ask about legacy yet. Give me a couple more years here, but we definitely need to make progress on housing, sustainability, and cost reductions. We're very excited about sustainable ag and soil health. Our work in Department of Ag are encouraging entrepreneurship and supporting entrepreneurship. Really in making the future work for Colorado. Colorado is a very future-oriented state, and we want to make sure that works for everybody. And so that kind of aligns our goals. As you mentioned, I've done a lot of work in education. We focused on free preschool and kindergarten. So we got kindergarten free preschool for 4-year-olds starts next year. We're super excited about that because that also saves families money in addition to giving kids a strong start. And we're really laser focused on a lot of these like livability and cost issues that families face in our state.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's such an agenda, and I don't know how you keep it all in your brain, Governor. It's just so much going on. It's amazing, and you know so much about so many things. I just love it. It's just great.
Well, thank you for posting. I saw Steve just posted the boards and commissions link, and encourage people to check that out if you have some time. And I would particularly look at Food Advisory Council, State Fair Board if you live in Western Colorado. And some of the colleges around our state and community colleges that need board members.
That's really
and we want to thank Melissa Dworkin, who helped from your office, and also Ian C. But shout out to Ian, who he's the one who shared that link.
Yeah, thanks.
That's
Ian.
great. And Ian now, he's been our marijuana and cannabis person. He's also now going to be taking on psilocybin, which just passed. So that's going to be
psilocybin.
Psilocybin. I have to learn how to pronounce it, Steve. Can they just call it natural medicine? I think. But
it's very interesting that passed in Colorado. I have to say.
Wow, what a state! Hey, listen, I know we're running out of time, Governor. I just want to say, from my corner of the world here, thanks so much for your support and for all you've done over the years with Naturally Boulder. And I look forward to engaging with you at some point in the near future here again. And thank you for coming on today, Steve. Up to you, man.
Governor Polis, Bill and I are both at your service. Anything you need, you know where to call on us in terms of reaching out to this whole natural organic hemp sector. We'll look forward to seeing you at NOCO Hemp Expo at the end of March at the Broadmoor. We're really honored and grateful. And I want to thank our audience. I want to thank our sponsors. You've been so supportive of Compass Coffee Talk. On January 18, we're very excited to host Steve Hughes. He originally worked with Tropicana, launched the Healthy Choice brand. He was the CEO of Celestial Seasonings, of Frontier Natural Products, of Boulder Brands. Now he is a very respected investor in the space with Sunrise Strategic Partners. So we're going to get a look at the economy and investing in natural and organic products as we kick off 2023 on January 18. Folks, have a great holiday season. Governor Polis, thank you so much. We wish you the best of success. Again, we're at your service.
Thanks for having me on, Steve and Bill. I'll see you soon. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye now.